I wrote this in 5 days.
I had no intention of writing a script in 5 days.
Yeah, see, it's actually the children's songbook. That was just misadvertising. The actual thing's over here on the computer. It's 91 pages. I'm not printing all that out.
But before I tell you how we did it, first let me tell you why. For the last 9 months, I've been pouring everything I have into creating films without the Hollywood budget or studios. But after releasing my feature film and a few short films, it began to heavily weigh on me that my family is entirely counting on me to be successful. And I began to wonder and think, what if I started to aim a little bit higher? So we crafted together a plan. Start with the killer idea, write it into a script, submit it into screenplay competitions, and pitch it to studios.
Like, can you imagine writing something and then Warner Brothers wants to work with you on making it into a movie? It's kind of far-fetched. It would have to be a pretty incredible script.
If that fails and everyone says no, I'm gonna go ahead and make a 10-minute version by myself. I'll put the short film into film festivals and do more pitches to try and make the feature film. If that still doesn't work, I'll post the short film here on YouTube and I'll seek for crowdfunding. If all else fails, I'll rinse and repeat, this time going through the process a little bit older and wiser. Day 1. My wife and I went through our giant list of ideas. Our formula for choosing which idea we should go with was pretty simple. Popular, I'll tell you how to be popular. Big movies get famous actors to play roles because those actors often tend to get people in seats to see it. To determine what I wanted to make a movie about, I looked through our topics for what was trending, hot, or relevant that our film could be part of the discussion. We picked our best idea and I began to run with it. To see if I could come up with a solid enough plot around the idea, I began calling my friends and practiced telling stories around the idea. Day 2. I continued calling people to try to find the main beats of my story. And I also spent time developing the characters I wanted in the film. What are their motives, fears, dreams, background, and growth they would experience. By the end of the day, I had a 6-page outline of everything I wanted to happen in the film. It was just as I was about to go to bed that my wife asked me, when are the screenplay competition deadlines? I had no idea. So I quickly looked one up that I was aware of, and it was only 4 days away, placing the deadline on the end of day Sunday. And given that I don't work on Sundays, that left me with only 3 days to write our entire script. Day 3. The script page to minute rule states 1 page of screenplay roughly equates about 1 minute of screen time. And if we wanted to do roughly a 90-minute movie, that means I would need to write 90 pages in 3 days. Desperation breeds innovation. I recorded myself telling my wife the 2-hour story in detail. Then I transformed that audio to text using AI. I then had AI put the text into screenplay format. This allowed me to get the bulk of the story written in a short amount of time, but it still needed so much more fine-tuning. Day 4. This is where I began to question everything. I barely slept, barely ate, Right. I would remove tons of scenes and add tons of new ones. Day 5. This is deadline day. My wife and I were reading through the script and it literally brought me to tears. I had began to feel these emotional bonds to these characters. I was weeping when they faced the climax of their story. Maybe I was crying because it truly had become a masterpiece. Or maybe I was just crying because of how tired I was feeling after having written 90 pages in 3 days. Yeah, that's probably it. I'm not crying, okay? If anyone asks. It's just allergy season. As the 11th hour neared, I came to a horrific realization. The script, though it was written, was not entirely properly formatted. There was also a few continuity errors given the many changes I had made to the script. I debated, do I compromise my beliefs and work on Sunday? Do I miss the competition? Do I submit it anyway as it is? I wasn't willing to say yes to any of those questions, so I frantically moved forward in a desperate attempt to finish in the final minutes. And then we missed it. So you might be wondering, what's this script about? And what are you doing now? Are you going forward finding other script competitions to enter into? Are you still trying for it? Are you gonna pitch it to people? Well, the answer is right over here. There should be a video. And if there's not, well,